Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hi, sorry we had a little late start this morning. We had a few technical issues with Zoom, but we're up and running now. I don't know if you can hear me. No? Can't hear?
Not well.
Okay.
Now.
Shout.
The stage.
Is this a little better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all for coming this morning. Welcome to Highland Commerce Guild's monthly meeting for May. We have a lot of guests this morning, and you usually see Aaron Gavan here. He's our president of Highland Commerce Guild, but he's on vacation. So you have me. My name is Amy Foos Kapoor, and I'm a board member and the media specialist for Highland Commerce Guild. And we also have Adema Perez. She's filling in for Nick Morris, our vice president, who's also on vacation that time of year. So welcome, everyone. And we're so glad that you could make it today. So as I mentioned, we have a lot of people coming up, but first we wanted to do a round of introductions, everyone in the room. But we're going to start first with those online. And I see that Hani Goldman is there. Good morning, Hani. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am awake. I'm Hani Goldman. I am the chair of the District 8 Advisory Board. And I just want everybody to know that June 4th is a full moon, which will probably explain to all the problems that everybody is having. And that we will have our meeting, which is open to the public, on June 26th. And there'll be plenty of updates on the short-term rentals and other interesting things that affect District 8. So good morning and have some coffee for me.
Thank you, Hani. I also see that Wave 3 News is online. I'm not sure if they want to say hi or not. You're welcome to. Okay, let's go around the room. We'll start with this first table and go around this way.
Well, good morning. My name is Adema Perez. I'm with Park Community Credit Union, and I am part of Commerce Guild too. So if you all need anything with your financial needs, please let me know. I'll be happy. Now I'm going to go and check on coffee.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
Important job.
Yes.
My name is Shawn Dawley. I'm a leadership educator and speaker. I was asked to come today by Aaron with some remarks. I spent a few years in the corporate world as an executive, but for 25 years prior to that, I was a combat pilot in the Air Force and a commander. So I made plenty of mistakes from which I learned some lessons that now I'm able to share with people.
I'm Mark Abrams. I'm a board member of the Highland Commerce Guild.
I'm Deanna Daniel. I'm the owner of LC Institute, and I run an Airbnb called Harmony House. And I'm the author of 3 memoirs, Louisville.
I'm Jeff Myers, sales agent at the Manager Realtors. I'm a board member and the treasurer of the Highland Commerce Guild.
And I'm Beth, the manager at Highland Shopping Park Library.
I'm Larry Williams. I am a trustee of the Cherokee Triangle.
Bill and Book, operator, Outlook in. My name is Trevor Creations of Safety Productions. Drew Boardman, owner of Planning and Sale House.
I am the main line, the operations manager of Black Law. Robert Ellis, operations supervisor, Black Law.
I'm happy to have great leadership and owner of institution in Boston. And we also have a good location in Louisville.
Good morning, Victor Rowe, PC.
Corey Burton, Executive Director of Highlands Community Ministries.
Good morning, Sharon Thompson, for community credit unions.
Mark Thompson, founder of Thompson Investment Advisors. Good morning, I'm also John Hill, and one of the two division resource officers here at the fifth division for obviously LMPD. Thank y'all for having us. Lieutenant King, I'm a late watch commander. I'm Ben Reno-Weber. I'm the first British thing. Great run.
Okay, thanks everyone so much. So up first, we're going to have our council member come up, Ben Reno-Weber. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming this morning.
Thanks for having me. It's everyone's favorite view, right up my nose. Ben Reno-Weber, District 8. A couple of updates on what's happening in council. It is budget season, which is when we get all of the input from community groups around budget needs and from departments around what they're looking for in their plans. This year we have a mild surplus, which is great. So we're able to make some really strategic investments. And I really actually want to commend Mayor Greenberg around the tone and tenor of some of those investments. He's really, I think, being thoughtful about looking upstream to some of the things that we're experiencing on the ground that are not amazing, including the uptick in substance use and people experiencing houselessness. So I think there's some pretty thoughtful plans in the budget right now to both address the immediate needs, but also to be thinking a couple years down the road, how do we not continue to be facing these problems with some strategic investments in transitional housing and respite housing and programs. A lot of what I am working on as a recovering entrepreneur is around how do we build sustainable financial models for those services, particularly leveraging Medicaid. So it turns out if you are experiencing houselessness, you are essentially eligible for Medicaid. And so the interventions that happen both on the front end and then later to help you get into recovery or get into transitional housing are in fact reimbursable. And so a lot of what I'm working with the city with right now is how do we do that? Part of what will happen, hopefully because of that, is that we can reduce the burden on LMPD for responding to calls for which, honestly, we would rather have them focused on other things. And so building out both a workforce and a financial model as a city for if somebody is just high as a kite in Walgreens, as happened to me yesterday, there is someone who can respond to them while we allow our officers to be focused on, I don't know, the people who are drag racing at 90 miles an hour on stolen motorcycles in the middle of the night, which is where we would really prefer them to be engaged. So a lot of work on that. People are super interested in what's happening with the short-term rental arrangement. Really good thing is that the mayor's office feels very comfortable that the thing that we are trying to do, which is stop bad actors from taking advantage of the current loopholes in our laws, that they administratively can hold up while we are going through the very thoughtful, very thorough process of getting community input on a more modern set of regulations that I actually really think is a brilliant combination of allowing the good actors to be doing what we want them to be doing on commercial corridors, owner occupied. Hey, it's Derby and I'm going to move in with my parents while I rent out my house. Great. While preventing the I am a Oregon investor who's buying $1 million property to turn it into a hotel in an area that is not zoned for hotels for a reason. And then we're going to lie on our applications and say this is our dream house. So we're working pretty aggressively on that. Been working very closely with planning and zoning. There's going to be at the meeting tomorrow a vote on the moratorium. Honestly, it doesn't matter one way or the other in the sense that administratively they are on this. So we've been working really closely with them. We met with Airbnb. They flew in a lobbyist, which I thought was actually kind of cool. Like, oh, they're scared of us. That's a good thing. That's a good negotiating position for us to be in. They also gave us a hotline for bad actors. So good stuff happening on that front. And that's all the news that's fit to print. So I know we got a lot of people, so I'm going to hand over, but thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate the engagement of this neighborhood in making our community better. Oh, question. Yes, sir.
The question is regarding the moratorium. Would it be for 6 months probably? Is that?
No, I have no indication that it is gonna really be that long. At most, it will be until we pass the legislation, which is currently up for community input. I'm optimistically anticipating that if we do a moratorium, it will only be until August. And I want to be super clear, it is only impacting new registrations that require variance. So anyone who is currently operating, completely unimpacted. And if you don't need to be reviewed, you just need to registration, also you're good. Right.
Were you personally hired to tighten Walgreens?
Fair point. No, I was in fact walking out of Walgreens and someone who was indulging in their substance use disorder wanted to have a conversation.
It was a trick question. Do you expect that we will be agile enough to adjust to debt ceiling federal things in our budget?
I'm a Metro Council person. That is so far above my pay grade that I'm not gonna, I'll let my friends from Park Community Credit Union who want to talk about interest rates address that. Anyone else?
Where the front said those decisions are above our pay grade. Our community has 5.02 CD right now. So.
For those online, Park Community has a 5.02 CD. Yep. All right. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Ben. Okay, up next we have LMPD's Lieutenant Rob King. He's going to talk about some exciting new officers for the 5th District. Program.
Sweet. Folks here.
Good morning, everyone. Just real quick, just want to introduce John Keeling. Him and another officer, Brad Steller, are our new division resource officers. They're going to help me, help the division, help the major, help you all with things, complaints, issues that are police kind of related, but that's their whole goal. Like, you know, abandoned cars, illegally parked cars. I need paint on my curb, things like that. They're like the liaison between us and like all the other departments within Metro government. They're sworn police officers, so you'll see them out and about doing enforcement action as well. But at the end of the meeting, you can sit back here and we talk to John, and he's been on longer than how long you been on, John?
Total 33 years.
33 years. So lots of experience. So he's here to help. Real quick, 5th Division crime is kind of steady where it was last year, which, you know, it's no news is kind of good news. We've had uptick in auto thefts and car break-ins still. It's just, you know, lock your cars. I say that every month, but people don't lock their cars and they wonder why their cars are missing, or, you know, again, I get it. We try to live in a society where you feel like you can leave your car unlocked when you run into the store, but we just gotta lock our cars. I mean, it's just part of the deal. You know, if you see something, say something to us. Again, I reiterate that all the time, because we'll get calls, we'll have 3 or 4 cars broken into thinking it's just a random thing. And then I'll find somebody like, oh, all my neighbors' cars got broken into. So we know it was 12 cars got broken into instead of 3. You know, 12's concerning, 3's concerning, but you know, we just got it. It's just nice to know what's going on. I know the streets, Marshtown Road, Baxter, they've repaved it. They put the bump outs. And in my opinion, it's taken away some parking spots. But in my opinion, is working the late nights with the bars, it's helped with keep cars slowing down a little bit. It's the crosswalks. It's not gonna be perfect, because you still see people cutting across traffic, but I think it's helped with, especially with the lights. I don't know if you've seen the new crosswalks at night, they light up like a Christmas tree. So it helps. Hopefully it'll keep our patrons and our neighbors safe. Other than that, I'll stick around after the meeting if you have any specific questions. I know there's a lot of people here that want to talk, so I'll stick around if you need anything. So, all right.
Okay, thank you so much, Lieutenant King. Okay, now we have a new business in the area. Shawn Dawley, he's a keynote speaker and leadership educator. He's going to talk about some strategies on how business owners can recover and grow from challenging times. Welcome, Shawn. Thanks so much.
So I need to stay anchored to the podium up here, so they can see me? All right.
Yes, you do.
All right. Well, so the president and the vice president both invited me to come give, about 90 minutes of remarks today. No, I was kidding. They asked me to come speak, and then both of them didn't show up. And when I got here and Amy said neither one of them was here, I said, well, I'm used to being stood up on dates. The problem is, after 30 years of marriage, when it's your wife who's standing you up, it's a real blow to your ego, right? So I mentioned in the introductions that I spent 25 years prior to my corporate career, predominantly as an Air Force pilot. And as a public service announcement for today, I will tell you that anytime an Air Force pilot begins a story with, "So there I was," most of what follows is a lie. So there I was. All right. Except today's the truth. All right. So it's July 2003, inbound to Baghdad Airport, which by this time had become the main staging base for coalition forces in Iraq. We're a few hundred feet off the deck. I'm talking to the airborne warning and control aircraft, the big eye in the sky that's keeping me clear. I'm about 10 miles out, so I'm going to switch over frequency and talk to the terminal controller at Baghdad. So punch that in. And about the time that I go to key the mic, all of a sudden I hear my missile warning system's going off. And I hear the guy behind me say, "Missile launch, brake left," except he said it, "Missile launch, brake left." And we've got these little quadrant arrows in front of us in the cockpit that will tell you from which direction the inbound heat-seeking missile is coming. So between the warble and him saying that, I instinctively look down and I see left front quadrant arrows illuminated. So somewhere between my 9 and 12 o'clock, there's an inbound missile that maybe has a max range of about 3 miles and tops out at about 1,300 miles per hour. And even as slow as I was, and we're moving towards it. So you don't have to be a mathematician to figure out that whatever's going to happen is going to be over pretty quick, right? I mean, this is not going to be a long, drawn out engagement, good or bad. The conclusion is not going to keep you in suspense. So, to be continued. On that day in that plane, the primary threat was the Al-Qaeda offshoot that had sprung up, and some of the Ba'ath Party members and former army soldiers had kind of melted into the population, and now they had reemerged as insurgents with different tactics. A few months prior, in that same plane, the primary threat was the Iraqi military and Saddam's Republican Guard that were using weapons and tactics quite different from what we were experiencing today. Back up about 10 years when that plane rolled off the assembly line at Lockheed Martin, and it entered service in a decade where the predominant challenges were in Somalia, Rwanda, Haiti, Bosnia, Kosovo, a decade that was defined with threats that ranged from East African warlords to Central European Soviet weaponry. Okay. Same plane, vastly different challenges, vastly different environments. The context kept changing, so our tactics had to change. In a room full of owners and operators, I don't need to tell you that the operating environment in which you find yourself is changing, right? Economically, the digitization of the economy means that people may come into your shop, look around at the goods you have to offer and then pull their phone out and order it for $2 cheaper, off of Amazon. Or when it comes to the labor force, that same digitization means that some people that used to enter the labor market and go to the brick and mortar establishments now do like my son did through college, which is download the Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash app and participate in that gig economy. And believe me, I'm not here to litigate the financial safety nets and welfare packages that came out of the pandemic, but we know that had some impact. There were some people that were like literally making a little more money not working. There was maybe that 2-income household that figured out, one of us can probably leave our job and we'll be okay. And then there might have been some people that were towards the tail end
of their career that decided that rather than retiring at 65, I can probably just go ahead and retire now. So to some degree, all of that had an impact on that labor force participation rate. Now, socially, Ben and Lieutenant King mentioned, some of the things that, that we see. We read the same news, we live in the same communities. We know that drug use is up. We know that fentanyl overdoses are up. We know that since 2020, there's been over 500 murders in Louisville, whereas in the decade prior, that homicide rate was more like about 80 per year. Now it's double that. Not to mention all the other crimes, that surround that. I don't pretend to know why that is. I don't pretend to opine as to what the fix is. I'm simply saying that as business owners and operators, I know that you don't have the luxury of wringing your hands about how things should be. You just simply have to navigate the landscape, as it is. So we're in that plane. Missile left, break left, break left. I look down, I see the incoming. So because it's my story, I can tell you that I expertly employed the perfect, counter maneuver, and we made sure that the pyrotechnic flares were being dispensed out of the aircraft to decoy the heat seeker, and the missile overshoots. I'm like, okay, all right, we're okay. Take a deep breath. Everything went right. Now, sometimes, things go wrong, but on that day, at least on that day, things went right. Now, why is that? I think it's because though the context had changed, the environment had changed, our tactics had changed, some things hadn't changed. As professionals, just like you in your line of work, we showed up that day prepared to confront the challenges as they were, not as we wished them to be. We had that same professional dedication to preparation that you had. The people part of it hadn't changed. I've got a boat that my wife and I use quite a bit. We have acquaintances, we have the proverbial drinking buddies, we have casual, folks with whom we have pleasant, conversation. But just like you, there's that short list of folks that when you're in a bind that you reach out to. And then consequently, there's those people that when they're struggling, reach out to you. When that missile is inbound, both literally or in your cases, metaphorically, it's too late. It's too late at that point to try to establish the trust and relationships necessary to get through that. So the preparation had remained unchanged. The people piece of it had remained unchanged, but there was one final piece, and I will tell you unapologetically, I cashed every single paycheck the Air Force ever sent me. I made full use of the generous healthcare plan to which I was entitled. I used a lot of GI Bill money to force myself through school. But when you hear boop, 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 missile launch, break left, I can tell you in the narrow bandwidth of my brain, what was top of mind at that point was not my pay and benefits package. There needed to be some grander reason for me being there. There had to be a higher calling, a bigger purpose. Some of the most passionate people I know are business owners. And it doesn't mean that you have to be in the business of curing cancer or developing a rocket fuel to send humanity to colonize one of Saturn's moon. I just believe that in a free market capitalist society, when you provide a good or a service that somebody else walks to you and freely hands over money in exchange for what you have to offer, there's something that is intrinsically valuable in that. So I'm in no position to give anybody in here advice as to how you run your shop. You know what you do, you know how you do it. But as things change, and I think many of us might say they're changing faster than ever, is it also possible that maybe change will never be this slow again? When that change invariably comes, I would simply, with all humility, offer up some encouragement that the preparation and the people matter, and whatever that purpose that compelled you to start that business, to run that business is, to hang on to that. Because when you lead with purpose, people will follow you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shawn. That was very inspirational.
Thank you.
Okay. So next we have a new business on Bardstown Road located at 1604. Daisuke Sushi. Did they leave? Oh,
They unfortunately had to leave.
okay. Okay. Well, we'll try to get them in next time. So they were here and graciously and had to leave. So that's okay. Well, and Bep Tea House, I don't think they made it this morning.
They couldn't make it either. They have graduation tonight.
Okay. So well, there's, and that one is located, the Bep Tea House at 1702 Bardstown Road. So you can go check out those two new businesses. You can't hear me still? 1702 Bardstown Road is the Bep Tea House. If you want to go check that out, the new business.
Could you spell that in?
It's BEP, Bep Tea House. So, and that's it. So I think now it's time for the drawing for the gift card for everyone who has attended. Adema is filling Nick Morris's shoes with the drawing today.
Nick is not here, so things are not going the way Nick would want again. I'll find the number. Just 1 second.
Yeah, we can have a little time at the end if anyone wants to promote their business or anything, or talk about any events upcoming in the Highlands. Your floor is free.
All right. Amy, you want to hold the number?
Sure. Okay, it looks like number five has won the drawing. That's Beth from the Louisville Public Library. And she got a gift card to the Bep Tea House. Okay, $25.
I went by there yesterday, and they're very clean facility, which I really value. It seems really nice, very friendly. There are several people in there, so hopefully you get a chance to visit them, enjoy them. But if nobody minds, I would like to use an opportunity to inform you about some rates.
It's Emma.
Oh, sorry. Oops. Morning. So Park Community does have 5.02 share certificate. It is for 5 months. This is our last week running that promotion. So if you're interested, come by Douglas Loop or any of our locations that you wish to. And just come and see me. My name is Adema. And then if we have any other promotions, I'll make sure to get your contact information so we can talk about that.
Is there a minimum investment?
$500. 500 is minimum. There is no maximum. So. Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
I am a member of the Downtown Louisville Rotary Club,
Mhm.
and we have a partnership with Park Community Federal. And
Okay.
I'd like for you to tell a little bit about the West End Initiative. Do you know much about it? Can you explain a little bit so that these folks can realize how important this is for our community, and particularly for the 9 residents or the 9 neighborhoods in the West End of Louisville?
So that's not my specific area. We do have, each areas have specific individuals that are handling that. Ms. Karen, are you able to elaborate more on that since you are?
Can't share much in depth, but I can tell you we have some initiatives for purchases of property in the area that's been attractive for space. And we're no down payments for properties in that area now. That's another state.
We successfully purchased 2, and we hope to buy as many as 70, I believe. And this is really innovative, because what this will do is this helps people who can't go in and apply for a normal mortgage loan, because they may have income criteria that would meet most lending institutions restrictions, but they may have a past credit history in the past. Or they may have had several things that affected them that would knock them out of applying to a traditional bank. And what done in collaboration with us, they provided, and this is a $5 million initiative. This is a big deal. And this is a game changer for West End, because what this will do is this will provide housing for people who could not have a down payment, but it's not charity. This is absolutely, it is a little like Habitat for Humanity, except that it's very different in that we cover the entire thing. And these loans that are paid by these individuals, they go back into a fund so that we can regenerate additional lending in the future. So that's a very preliminary basic explanation of it, but without Park, we interviewed 5 different lending institutions and formed this arrangement with Park, and it is absolutely, it's a jewel. It's a great opportunity, and again, we've already closed on 2 properties. We've got families that could not have possibly purchased a property before, and now they're homeowners. That's a big deal.
Now, I do have to mention, this is a big thing because your organization is the one who's actually funding and supporting. We are there just to support you all. So
You all are providing $2 million of the initial money. We're providing $5 million, but we've got 350 members, and we're asking each member to step up, and we're going through that process now. We're shaking the dream. But that's one success leads to another, and so this is going to work. It really is.
it definitely is.
That's a reasonable question. I think to a degree we're trying to raise the money so that we've got something tangible to sell for West End, but it's not neighborhoods.
Your gentrification down there.
And they certainly do, and this is a wonderful. This really is. And gentrification is a whole different, major issue, no question.
It sounds like a great program.
It really is, and again, this partnership with Park is, you all need to be really well versed on this, because this is a big deal.
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing it up. If anybody has any questions or wants more in-depth information, your explanation is fantastic. Get in touch with either Gemma or I, and we'll put you in contact. Or we'll get the details and share those with you. So please, if you have anything, we'd love to.
You know, for saying to down at Park Community Federal, I did that. I went down to their West End office on West Jefferson Street. I just had $1,000. I said, I'm going to invest in this. It doesn't pay the investment down, but you know what? I'm participating in something that's an initiative that affects the West End. So,
Giving back to the community, that's what credit unions is specifically focus on that. So, well, thank you very much for that.
sure.
All those kind words and that information.
Okay. Anyone else? Any more promotions? Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
I just for the library, should I be here?
Yeah, sure, right in front of the. So.
There we go. Move it down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I'm Beth Dahinsky with the Highland Shelby Park, the library that's in the Mid-City Mall, but also the library system is starting our summer reading program tomorrow, and it's lasting through August 5th. So those of you with children, grandchildren, we're just telling you to bring your kids to the library, get books, or just read during the summer. Keep reading during the summer. There are prizes that the kids win. And in addition to the prizes, there's also a cultural pass that we are distributing for Metro Louisville, where those who are under 21 can go to all these cultural venues throughout the city. And this program takes place the same as the summer reading, June 1st through August 5th. So if you have questions, there are all sorts of free activities for your children at the library and throughout Louisville this summer, plus prizes just for reading, and the importance to keep them reading during the summer so they don't lose their reading skills during the summer. It's really important. We've got information at all the libraries We're just in the Mid-City Mall. We have a summer reading guide with all the programs throughout the library system. So we hope you come and visit the library, whether you have children or not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Beth, and thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And our next meeting is going to be at the Uptown Cafe. It's going to be a lunch with Mayor Greenberg on Wednesday, June 28th. And we'll send out some information on with some ticket information. Did you have a question? Yeah.
If everyone were putting their books, we want to invite you to our night out for the August 1st, the Tuesday night, with the addition of the 2 division resource officers added to the 5th division. We are kind of taking charge of that event. We want to expand it. It's country-wide national night out, meet and greet. In the expansion, we want to have more things for the families, like the inflatable bouncies and the kids. We give stuff away, we use it. You'll be able to meet with the cops, fire department, EMS folks. It will be at the juvenile house. Begins at 5 o'clock. It's usually 5 to 8, but if it's expanding, I run a little bit over. We're inviting any businesses there in Louisville, particularly our 5th division, to come and participate. Throw up 10 to 10 or your table, whatever you'd like to do for yourself in your business. But you're all invited August 1st, 5 p.m. to the juvenile house. That's National Night Out. You'll hear more about it between now and then.
Okay, thank you. And that was August 1st, LMPD National Night Out at the Duminal House. And we'll also put that in our newsletter as well. Yeah, come on in. Okay.
I didn't really prepare anything. Obviously, since COVID in 2020, I took over Flanagan's in March of 2020. And we are just kind of in the initial talks of bringing back Highlands Fest this September. It looks like in the past they did it the weekend after Labor Day, which would be September 9th. So like I said, we're in the very beginning stage of the talks on bringing that back, and we'll have some more information soon. The 900 block of Baxter Avenue. So from like Wick's Pizza down to Broadway. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And please stay and enjoy Cazito's cookies and some coffee and get to mix and mingle with everyone. And thanks again for coming.